Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dreamleapers Inspiration. I'm your host, Harriet Cole. As always, honored to be here with you today in this sacred space that we create for a covenant with each other, to help uplift each other, to remember the greatness that lies within each one of us, and to tap into that. It is something that I have learned is essential to do in order to have true happiness in your life, to tap into your own greatness, into what already dwells inside of you, and to nurture that, to grow that. We don't always do it. We get busy. We forget that greatness lies within. We think, well, it lies within other people, but maybe not in us. It's an odd thing about human nature that we often think somebody else out there is better than we are, is more deserving. And when we have that belief, it is impossible to be happy because we're always looking outside for some kind of validation. And honestly, in the land of social media and likes and clicks and all of that, it it defies just reality for us to believe that being solitary, going inside, nurturing that quiet, strong place inside is more valuable than searching for clicks and likes and having some kind of relationship with others. Yet, everything that I've read, everything that I've been taught says that if you work the other way, work on yourself first, then you end up drawing to you the people, the opportunities, the just the joy that you want. But if you go out first, it just doesn't usually work because you're drawing people and situations to you that may not be of value to you. So, how do we unpack that in the life that we're living now, in this environment where outside stimuli are so incredibly important and we strive for those things? That's why I wanted to focus today on something that I have been focusing on for myself all year, and it's this search for peace. Today, I've called it strive for peace. And why strive for? Because I think it is a big effort that this is what I want. I'm going to strive to make this happen. I am going to put a lot of energy, a lot of focus on finding peace, cultivating peace, um, living in the space of peace in my life. I've had that as a focus. And so I can tell you that it works sometimes, and sometimes it's hard because just saying that you want it isn't enough. That's why striving for it, you work at it. So I want to ask you all, when you wake up in the morning, like when you woke up this morning, if you could tap into what your attitude was when you woke up, what would you say it was? What was your state of mind when you woke up? And did you have a sense of how you were going to live in this day when you woke up? Think about it. Did any of that occur to you? Or was it just, I woke up, oh, I pushed that alarm 2 or 3 times? No, not yet, not yet. I woke up, jumped out of bed, or maybe even before jumping out of bed, looked at my phone. I did what I do every day, whatever that every day is. Was that what you did? Or did you pause and check in with yourself to see how are you doing? How are you feeling? What are you offering to yourself and to your life, to your world on this day? Did you do that? And if you didn't, no need to beat yourself up. This is not what we're doing at all. It is to say that you might want to do that tomorrow. You might want to, before you put your feet on the floor, check in with yourself. How am I today? How is my state? If my state is not how I want it to be, what can I do to change that? Do some deep breathing, do some stretching, do some engagement of your physical being to let more oxygen in. Let more oxygen into your brain. Allow yourself to fill yourself with the intention that you want for the day before your feet hit the floor. Imagine if you would do that. What is my intention for the day? So my intention pretty consistently, whenever I remember to set it, is to strive for peace. It is to choose peace no matter what is happening. And I want to tell you, this is not easy at all. When things happen, when there are bumps along the way, when there are challenges that come, which is all the time, then you have this choice. What am I going to do now when this particular thing happens? And I'm like, ugh. When you start pointing your finger out, that's when you put on the brakes and say, no, 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 I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to point my finger out. I'm not going to say it's your fault. It's the fault of whatever this scenario is, that I don't have peace, that I don't have joy, that I'm upset. Now, a few months ago, and a couple of times in the summer, I had a falling out with a couple of different people. That's what my mother would call it, falling out. When I'm in a relationship, a friendship, a business relationship, several things happen. So it was of those three things. And something didn't go right. Somebody hurt my feelings, did something that I felt was crossing the line, did something that was wrong in my view of how things should be. And I was hot. I was angry. I was on fire. The last thing that I was holding on to in those moments, at least at first, was peace. I was hot. I was mad. I was ready to lash out. But because I have developed the discipline of pausing first, I did. I paused. I didn't say anything. I did my deep breathing. I told myself, just be still. Just be still. Take a look at this whole scenario to see what's worth reacting to. Why do I feel this way? Why am I giving so much energy to someone else? And why am I giving them power over me and my state? How can I reclaim my power? How can I neutralize this situation so that even in this very tense moment that I can choose peace, that I can strive for peace, work toward peace, even as what I really want to do is to be combative. I read, there's so many great quotes about peace. I read one that said, and a clenched fist cannot shake a hand. When you are ready to fight, you can't even see straight. It's like your blood is boiling. You're just mad, angry, frustrated, hurt, whatever those feelings are. And they can catch up within your being so intensely, you can have physical reactions. You can cry. Sometimes tears are good because it's letting go. You can have a stomach ache. You can have heart palpitations. There are actual reactions that your body has when you are living in a space other than peace. When you're all wound up and pent up, often bad things happen to your body because your body is saying, stop, stop. We know we don't see clearly when we're seeing through a lens of intense emotion. Intense emotion and peace do not go together. So what if you say, I'm a dramatic person? I I like this is how I live, this is how I am. I'm dramatic. I have to have this or that. I have to have these experiences in order to be me. Do you? Do you have to have the extremity of whatever that experience is in order to be you? What happens if you choose to strive for peace? When the intense thing happens, you notice it, you pay attention to it, and you stop it. Oh, it's happening. Take a breath, pause. Don't allow it to take over. Don't allow your emotions to pit you against someone else because almost always it ends up bad for you. Even if it's simply selfish, you could start with just selfishness. If it's simply selfish, is it worth it for you to allow yourself to get caught up and derailed? I don't think so. I have had the experience where I was wrestling with the inner demons of really wanting to lash out, just feeling like I deserved it. I had every right to lash out because someone hurt me, did me wrong, treated me in a way that I didn't want to be treated. How dare you? And when I turned my pointing finger around and pointed it at myself and asked, what is my role in this? What have I done to get myself in this situation? What can I do to to neutralize the situation, to distill it so that it is not like a burning cauldron? First pause and then figure out my role in it. How did I get here? What did I do to make this happen? And what can I do to make it different? And honestly, one of the things that I discovered about me, and so I think this could be true for many people, there were three specific situations where this in the past few months that I was off kilter because of how I was engaging with other people. And in each situation, when I just boiled it down to the simplest components, what happened? Why? Why do I feel like this? Why did I allow myself to be in this situation? In part, a big part of it was that I wanted acceptance on some level from these people, that I wanted something from them that they were unable or unwilling to give me. And this happened in a personal situation and in a business. I mean, there were three, but basically personal and business. So I'm telling you that because we're talking about life. And so in life, all kinds of things happen. Even when you strive to be positive every day, as I do, it still happens. Things happen and you get tested over and over and over again. And when I paid attention over time to figure out what's my role in this, how can I do differently? When I stepped back and noticed, well, I have this longing for this relationship to work in a particular way and it's not. If I keep striving for that to work, then a bad thing happens again because I'm putting more out than I am holding on to my own power. When I stepped back, I said, I'm not allowing that longing to continue. I'm going to be grounded in me. I'm going to live based upon my principles. I am going to engage other people based upon what is important to me, what I have learned, what my values are, the way that I understand how to live. And if this person or this person doesn't align with my values and what I think is important, then maybe that person doesn't get to be in my life. Okay, this is really important because when you think in that way, you are claiming your power. It's different from, well, they're probably going to leave. They're not going to want to work with me or be my friend or work on this project or whatever it might be. Okay, is the world going to end because someone chooses not to be in alignment with you on something? But your world might end if you choose to be in alignment with someone or something that is not part of your DNA of who you believe you are. I hope that sunk in because is it sunk in or sank in? See, here's my grandma going. That sank in. I want you to really understand that when you stand in your power and you look through the lens of your values and the way that you want to be treated and the way that you want to treat other people, clarity comes. Oh, you realize, now you may not have to expunge somebody from your life, but you can know this person doesn't get to be in the inner circle because they don't share my values. I can still work with this person, but this person doesn't have to be my best friend. I can understand that to choose peace, to strive for peace, means I have to live based upon my values and not change based upon others' values. Now, you can do cosmetic changes. You could change your clothes because where you're going to work requires this type of dress or that. That's not what I'm talking about. You can wear the uniform of the day without changing who you are. You can use the language that is appropriate for whatever environment you're in and code switch. This is the language for this environment. This is the language for my life when I do whatever I want. I am not saying that you do not adapt to your circumstances. What I am saying is that you do not walk away from your values. What is important to you about how you live, how you treat people, how you do your work, how you live your life? Those things should not change no matter where you are. So, the quote that I found for today, and I found so many great ones, but I want to tell you the quote that I found for us to unpack, and I started even though I didn't tell it to you yet. It is, do not let the behavior of others destroy your inner peace. And this is from the Dalai Lama. Listen, do not let the behavior of others destroy your inner peace. Right? How often do we do this? That's what I was just describing. In each of these scenarios where I was kind of in this battle, for a moment, I did let the behavior of others destroy my inner peace. I did. It just didn't last because I claimed it back real fast. But in the moment, I was, got knocked off balance because I didn't expect a particular behavior. I didn't expect to not be treated the way I want to be treated. And I had to pause and go, wait a minute. What am I feeling in this situation? Why am I in this situation? And how can I make sure this doesn't happen again? Well, in one instance, it was I can choose never to speak to this person again. Is that what I want to do? That felt a little dramatic and unnecessary. But it could mean, and it has meant, not choosing to spend as much time with someone who with whom I'm friendly but not close. But you know how did you ever have this happen? Circumstances put you in the company of people and you just spend a lot of time with them just because they're there. This person works with me. This person lives nearby. This person is around. This person's friends with another good friend of mine. So, I've started spending time with this person. Is that the way that you build relationships? Of course, it is true. We make friends with the people we're around. We build love relationships, friendships, etc., with the people we're around, with the people we work with. But Shouldn't you use discernment to see, is that person worth allowing into the inner sanctum? Don't you think that's important? I want you to know in my life, I have allowed people into the inner sanctum because they were around, because they were friends with other friends of mine, only to discover, I don't like that behavior. I don't like how this person is engaging me or engaging others. How did this person get so close? Oh, I trusted A, B, C, D, and E. I didn't pay attention for myself. That is not part of striving for joy. To strive for joy, that's like a muscle. In order to strive for joy and peace, see, I'm putting joy and peace together because my intention for this year was for peace and joy. So they go together for me. But today we're talking about peace, and maybe both. For me, they work hand in hand. But to strive for peace means when there's conflict, you figure out how to resolve it. When something doesn't feel right, you assess it and make course corrections to ensure that you are safe, that your heart is safe, that the people you love are safe. When you don't do that, what happens? And I often look at what's happening in the world to give a sense of what happens within our own lives. So always there's some kind of war on in the world. And very sadly, there are often people who are brothers and sisters. They are from the same family lines, if you go back far enough, and they're fighting each other. If you go through history, some of the greatest writings in the world are of these wars of people who are family members who are fighting each other. And if you really look at humanity, we're all family members. So why do we fight? Why do we fight? Why do we, rather than pausing and determining a way forward that acknowledges that there is enough for everyone? The universe is such that there is enough food, there's enough water, there's enough land, there's enough for everyone, for every single one of us to have what we need. There really is. It doesn't often feel like that when one person over here has so much and one person over here has so little. And when you have little, rather than striving for peace, what people often do is to clamor for what isn't theirs, to convince themselves that what's yours is mine, and to take. That is the opposite of striving for peace. Striving for peace has open hands and open arms. Striving for peace is not holding your fists clenched, but holding other people's hands. Striving for peace is giving yourself a hug, is loving you for the person you are as you are. It's also being honest and tender with yourself. Okay, you have things to work on. You don't pretend like you don't have things to work on. What do you have to work on? Make that list. You know, I'm a huge believer in lists. I like this two-prong list. What do you love about yourself? Write it down. What do you want to work on to make better? Write it down. And if you just do the what do you want to work on, you could start feeling bad about yourself because there's so many things to do. If you make what do you want to work on and you're comparing yourself to other people, forget about it. It's not going to work. If you make the list for you and then work to with the what you love about yourself, make sure that those things you love about yourself you are fortifying. So pay attention to that list. The things you want to work on, choose one at a time to work on. Choose one at a time. You know, one of the things that I know a lot of people do is to pick up the phone and call other people and complain, or now to text and complain. That is a habit that is the opposite of striving for peace. And I want to say to you, if you are one of those people, and most people are, pause before you pick up the phone, before you press send. pause, take a deep breath, and decide that you're not going to light that match. You're not going to light that flame because that creates wars in your life. What happens when you pick up the phone and start talking about your spouse? You start talking about your boss, your child, whoever it might be. Whoever you're talking to is not going to keep it a secret. I don't care how much they love you. Human nature is you share. So you have lit that flame and now it goes around and around and around. Have you ever been somewhere around people you know and they kind of give you the side eye, or your spouse, your child, your friend, whoever you were talking about? And now you're all happy with the person. All the bad stuff is over, but they are still holding on to whatever flame you lit. And they're mad. They're upset. They are enraged by something that is old news because you've moved past it and you didn't go back and put that flame out. If you don't say it in the first place, they don't have it to share. And this doesn't mean that you shouldn't share what's on your heart so that you can learn and grow. That's what a therapist is for, by the way. Yeah. A professional can help you work through things, and that person is going to keep it private because they've taken an oath to do that. But constantly complaining about anyone is dumping something on somebody else that should not be their responsibility, is fanning the flames of negativity, is the opposite of striving for peace. Don't do it. Resist the temptation. Breathe, meditate, walk, swim, run. Do something other than fanning that flame. When you do that, you will feel a sense of peace within your being. You will be able to see more clearly. What is the best thing for me to do in this situation? How can I talk to the person with whom I'm having a difficulty and be heard? If you're yelling and screaming or crying, it doesn't work. If you're calm and you think about that other person, how can I deliver this information so that this person can hear me? When you do that, when you think about it, you use the four gateways of speech. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it timely? If you can say yes to all of those things and you took the time to back up and see, is the way that I'm delivering this and the time that I'm delivering this right for this moment and this person? If you can figure that out, I promise you, there's a greater chance of you having peace in that moment. I had a conflict with someone this summer and I paused and I thought about how can I let this woman know how I'm feeling because I needed it to be clear. You can't cross this line again. And so I picked a very neutral moment, a happy moment when the two of us were sitting side by side. And I said, I need to tell you something. And I recounted what had occurred in a very calm, positive, but clear way. And she apologized for her behavior because it was wrong. Absolutely no question wrong. I didn't accuse her. I told her what happened. And I said to her, this can't happen again. A couple days later, no, the next day, she wrote me a text and said, I've been thinking about what you shared with me ever since you told me, and I'm really sorry. I did not mean to hurt anyone. And I will work on this so that I don't do it again. And then she added, I especially appreciate the way that you said it to me. So I didn't lash out at her. I didn't yell at her. I told her in the most loving and clear way that I could what had happened, how I felt about it, and where I was drawing the line. And she has been working on it. That is the best possible thing that could happen. The best possible thing is for someone to accept criticism and make the decision, I will do my best to do better. That was striving for peace. We had a peaceful interaction that could have been hostile. I waited until I wasn't angry. I still felt what had happened. It was still tense, but I waited until I could be positive, choose joy, choose peace. And I shared it to her in peace, and she received it in peace. Why is this important? We have conflicts every day. We have tension every day. We do. Most of us do. How do you navigate that? Do not allow other people's behavior to knock you off your peace. If it happens, reclaim it as fast as you can and do your best to address whatever is happening in a way that will create more peace, that will create the space for peace for you and the other person. When you do that, there's a chance for growth. There's a chance for healing and reconciliation. If you yell, if you lash out, if you shrink, you're walking away from peace. So please practice striving for peace in each moment, especially when the moment is tense. It works. It has worked for me. It is working for me. It's a muscle to build and develop. And when you do that, you really can have more joy in your life. That's my goal, peace and joy in the face of everything. And I hope that that can be a goal for you because it's a wonderful place to be in when you make that choice. Until next time, have a great day and make it count. Namaste.